Hey Lions fans, get ready, because after the victory, the news that emerged surprised everyone. First, Jared Goff caught the league's attention after he had to do something unusual after the game. Then, the defense is in a complicated situation, and it seems we already have the name of the right reinforcement. And to make matters worse, one of the team's young stars received news that could change the rest of the season. You won't believe what happened. And the first one involving Goff is already causing a stir. Jared Goff walked into week 14 looking calm as ever, and then walked out having the NFL hand him one of the most predictable random drug tests you'll ever see. And honestly, can you blame them? The guy absolutely torched the Cowboys, and every time a quarterback plays out of his mind, those tests magically show up like clockwork. Goff finished the night completing 25 of 34 passes for 309 yards, a touchdown, 0 turnovers, and enough rhythm to make Dallas's defense look like they were running in sand. But the funniest part, when he finally showed up late to his media session afterward, he didn't hide anything. He walked in smiling and basically said, "My bad, fellas. Drug test." Classic Goff. Cool, dry humor, like he knew exactly how ridiculous the timing was. And here's the thing, this wasn't even his first big game of the season. Week 14 was his third 300-yard performance, and his 6th game was 0 turnovers. That's not luck, that's consistency, and he did it while Amon-Ra St. Brown, his security blanket, his do-everything receiver, was out there limping through an ankle injury. When your top weapon isn't 100% and you still shred a defense for 44 points, you're doing something right. Speaking of that, the Lions offense is cooking, like league's highest scoring team cooking. Detroit tied its second biggest point total of the season with those 44 against Dallas, and now they're averaging 33 points per game, just ahead of the Colts. They've hit 30+ points in 3 of their last 5 games, including 2 separate 44-point explosions. That's not a fluke, that's an offense that knows exactly who it is. And if you want to know why the NFL might have handed Goff that test, check out this stat. He currently leads the entire league with an 81.2% adjusted completion rate per PFF. That number takes away spikes, throwaways, batted balls, drops, all the stuff that messes up traditional stats, leaving only how accurate is this dude really? Spoiler, extremely accurate. Detroit fans have seen good quarterback play before, but this version of Goff, this is different. This is command. This is confidence. This is a guy playing the cleanest football of his career while running an offense that looks like it can score on anybody. And here's the kicker. All this momentum sets up something spicy. Next week, Goff gets to face his former team, the Los Angeles Rams. But while the offense is rolling, the Lions defense just took a hit so big that Detroit might have no choice but to make a move immediately. The Lions got news this week that punched a massive hole right through the middle of their defense. Brian Branch, their Pro Bowl safety, their smartest guy in the secondary, their tone setter, is officially done for the season with a torn Achilles, and that alone would be bad. But when you stack it with everything else going on in that safety room, it becomes a full-on emergency. Kirby Joseph has been banged up all year with that lingering knee issue. He might suit up next week, but nobody can say that with confidence. Thomas Harper, concussion protocol, could be back, could not. It's a coin flip. Terrion Arnold has been battling injuries too. And suddenly, when you look at Detroit's depth chart, you realize something brutal. They have one healthy safety on the roster. One, and that's veteran Daniel Thomas. That's it. That's the list. If the Lions want to stay competitive down the stretch, and with the playoffs sitting right there for the taking, they need reinforcements yesterday. The good news? There are 4 starting caliber guys available right now who could walk in and play meaningful snaps. Let's break them down. 1. Richie Grant. This would require Detroit to poach him from the Patriots practice squad, but the man can absolutely play. He's logged 68 NFL games and started 33 of them. In Atlanta, he was a legit pass rush threat from the secondary, something the Lions could use alongside their aggressive front. In New England, he's buried behind better depth. In Detroit, he'd be an instant upgrade. 2. Darnell Savage. Now this one feels real. Savage was just released by the Commanders, and the Lions already know him well from his years with Green Bay. He's played 95 games, started 82, and even though he hasn't been at his peak lately, he's still a dependable veteran with range. He's also healthy, something Detroit desperately needs. If he clears waivers, don't be shocked if the Lions are the first phone call he gets. 3. Juan Thornhill. Another practice squad target, this time from Jacksonville. Thornhill's resume speaks for itself. Two-time Super Bowl champion with the Chiefs, starter for multiple playoff runs, and still just 28. The Browns and Steelers didn't work out for him this year, but in Detroit's situation, he'd walk in and play immediately. Big game experience matters, especially this late in the season. 4. Justin Simmons. Now here's the big swing. He hasn't played this year, but he's a former All-Pro and one of the smartest safeties of the last decade. Reports say the Texans have been sniffing around him, but nothing's signed. Detroit could swoop in, offer a short-term deal, and hope he's still close to the guy who made that Denver secondary elite. Even at 80% of his old self, he's better than most options on the market. Bottom line, Detroit doesn't have time to wait. Not with the Rams coming up, not with the playoffs on the line, not with their secondary patched together with hope and tape. And just when it looked like things couldn't get any tougher for this defense, the Lions got the kind of injury news that instantly changes the rest of the season. The Lions walked out of their win over the Cowboys with a huge boost in the standings and a brutal loss on the roster. Late in the fourth quarter, Brian Branch went up to break up a pass in the end zone, landed awkwardly, and immediately grabbed his right leg. You didn't need slow motion or medical degrees to know something was wrong. He went down hard, trainers rushed in, and Ford Field went silent. He was carted off, boot on his leg, crutches waiting in the tunnel. Everyone hoped it was something minor, something manageable. But by Friday, the worst case scenario was confirmed. Torn Achilles, season over. And not just any player, and one of the most valuable defenders on the entire roster. Branch was having a monster year. At just 24 years old, he'd already become one of Detroit's defensive anchors. 75 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 9 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and the kind of playmaking that made him a Pro Bowler last season. He's the guy who always knows where the ball is going. He's the guy who cleans up mistakes. He's the guy who makes offenses nervous. And now he's gone. This hits harder because Detroit's secondary was already hanging on by a thread. Kirby Joseph battling his knee injury, Terrion Arnold dealing with his own issues. Thomas Harper trying to get out of concussion protocol. Even with everyone healthy, losing Branch would hurt. But losing him now, right before a critical stretch, it's devastating. The Lions will turn to Harper and Avonte Maddox once Harper is cleared, and Daniel Thomas will see a bigger role too. But let's be real, none of them can fully replace Branch's combination of instincts, speed, and versatility. Detroit's pass defense is now under massive pressure heading into Week 15. And speaking of Week 15, the next opponent isn't exactly a walk in the park. A road matchup against the Los Angeles Rams, December 14th, Fox, 4:25 p.m. ET. A game that will shape Detroit's playoff positioning, maybe even their confidence going forward. Goff's cooking, the defense is scrambling, and losing Branch changes everything. Detroit's season just got a whole lot tougher. But what do you think? Can this team still make a real playoff push? And hey, subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.